Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be building a hybrid bow for you. This is going to serve as my 3D rig for the whole summer, and then it will be my primary hunting rig this fall. It's a PSE Levitate in Gunship, which is the charcoal riser with the subalpine limbs. I also went with the EC2 Cams. Not that the E2 or the S2 Cams are bad. They're great, especially if you want more speed out of that bow. Those are the two to go with. Your E2 would be for you guys with the longer draw lengths, and the S2 for the shorter draw lengths, you know, 27 and under. However, the EC2 Cam gives you lots of adjustability. I think it's 31 inches all the way down to 25, I believe. It's just a smoother cam, and I prefer smooth over speed. It doesn't have quite as big a dump into the back wall as the other two cams. So I'm pretty excited that they're running these EC2 cams on the Levitate now. So I'll run through some of the gear that I'm going to be putting on this bow. We'll start with the stabilizers. I'm going to be running the AAE Mountain Series stabilizers. It'll be a 8-inch bar off the back and a 12-inch bar off the front. These stabilizers are a little heavier than your average stabilizer. They don't have a carbon shaft. They are an aluminum shaft, so they weigh in about an ounce heavier than most of your carbon stabilizer rods without weights. I think the 12-inch bar weighed in around somewhere like 2.6 ounces or something like that without the weights on. And then for rest, we're going to be running my Hamskea Epsilon. It's a great rest. I pulled it off the bow that I sold to buy this bow. In my opinion, best rest on the market. I don't think there's anything better out there, so we're going to stick with that. Back bar mount from AAE, as well as the front bar mount with a 10-degree drop away, just to get that weight a little bit lower off the bow. And then for a quiver, we're going to run a tight spot quiver. They're probably the best quiver if the company, your bow company, doesn't make a quiver specifically for your bow. Like Hoyt has their own quiver, Matthews has their own quiver. This gets up pretty tight, pretty close to the bow. I did test fit it beforehand just to see, and I did go with the subalpine top just to match the limbs on the bow. For a sight, we're going to be running my Fast Eddy from Spot Hog. I will be pulling the scope off, however, and putting on the new UV3 Hunter XL we picked up with the bow. So I'm excited to get this built for you. If you're looking for any of this stuff, if you're in Ontario, Southern Ontario especially, most of this stuff came from Evolve Archery out by Milton, which is, he's a great guy. Give Matt a call. He can certainly hook you up with anything you need, especially from PSE. He moves a lot of those. So give Matt a call if you're looking for any of this equipment. So let's get building. So next we want to set the draw length on the bow. So if you go to PSE's website, they'll have a chart there showing you the corresponding draw length with the letter on the rotating mod. So I shoot at 27 and a half, somewhere in there, depending on axle to axle of the bow. So I like to start at 27 because that's normally where I end up, and go from there. So for me, that's going to be H on the rotating mod. So you just want to back out these two screws. They can be a little snug sometimes. Just watch your cables as well. Sometimes they're close to them. So just back those out, and then rotate that mod until the letter you want is inside that circle. So there we go. H is there. Just make sure it seats in properly. There we go. So you just want to make sure like you feel that physical click of the mod seating in to the cam. And then you're just going to tighten these back down. And if you want to change the let off, you can go from I think it's 80, 85, or 90 on these bows. Mine is set at 90 right now. I'm going to leave it there just to see what it feels like. I've never shot a bow with 90% let off before, so I'm going to give it a try and see how it feels. So I'm going to get this bottom cam adjusted, and then we'll get a rest and everything thrown on there, and get it leveled out, and get it in the press, and get a D-loop and a peep put in. So now we're going to throw the rest on. Pretty standard. It's the Hamskea Epsilon with the core mount system. So you just mount the rest to the side bracket, and then it bolts up like any other side mounted rest. So we'll get that thrown on there, and then get an arrow in it, and get some nocking points tied in, and a D-loop put on. We just adjusted the elevation of the rest just to keep the tail from smacking the riser. You want it to kind of come down on this bar that Hamskea has on the cage, so that you're not bending your tail up. So we're good there. We've got lots of clearance. Good. That should put us right in line with the burger buttonhole, which should be, I mean, obviously this doesn't have it, but somewhere around in between the A and the C in carbon there. So we'll see what we might have to lower it back down a little bit once we get an arrow on it, but yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. So next we're going to tie in your nocking points. So basically you just want to throw an arrow in your rest, line it up to roughly where you think center is, and then make sure your bow is level. I use one of the second gen Hamskea third axis levelers. It has a spot to clamp on your string. Then you'll just take your arrow level and pop on the front here. So now all we want to do is just move our arrow until that bubble is right where we want it to be, dead center. I know some guys like to have it down a little bit. I know some bow shops say to do that, but I like mine to just be straight and level. That way I'm not, I don't like messing with that stuff. So we're good and level. Just another little small adjustment here, real quick. And if you're wondering why I have tape on my fingers, it's a lot easier to get a good cinch down on your nocking points if you've got a little bit of tape on your fingers. That way the serving is not cutting in your hands, and believe me, it cuts pretty deep at times. So just grab a little bit of serving now that you got your arrow level, and you're just going to loop it through, and just square knots is all you're doing. One on the front, one on the back, one on the front, one on the back. And I usually do 2 or 3, depends on what you're looking for, but I'll just do go over one. It is a little bit more difficult with the tape on your fingers. You don't have quite the dexterity, but just one last check there. Put that on, and then I just wrap it around the taped part of my fingers, cinch it down a bit, double check, and then we're just going to do the same thing on the inside, and we'll probably do it 4 times. We'll do 4 wraps, top and bottom. Just like that. There we go. Back around again. I do find, I know a lot of guys, maybe they don't want to tune their own stuff or whatever, because I know bow presses can be pretty expensive. They're, in the range of $700, but it's made me a far better archer because I understand my equipment much better. So I do recommend, if you're able to, definitely try working on your own stuff as much as you can. it's not going to make anything worse, that's for sure. So we'll do one more on the inside, and then we'll do a double square knot on the back side here, and then we'll do the same thing on the bottom, and then we'll move to put on our D-loop, and then we'll get the sight mounted, and we'll be good to go go sight in. Remember, when you're tying your bottom one, you want to leave just a little space for that arrow knock to move just a small amount, just like that, just so it's not pinching once you're at draw. Just tighten that down, and then do the same thing as you did on the top, 3 or 4 wraps, and then you're good to go. Snip everything off, and then you just burn it down once you're ready. Remember, your flame always ends up going up, so just rotate your bow down if you have a vise or if it's in the press, and then just knot your ends down, give them a little smash with the lighter, and you're good to go. So now we're going to go ahead and bolt up our sight. I've already pulled the old Fast Eddy scope off and bolted on the UltraView. All you have to do to that, you will need the UltraView rod, because that rod off the original scope won't fit. And then you just pull out your front housing of your UltraView, run the rod through. There's a hole here to pass through your Allen key to bolt your sight to the rod, and then you just adjust your windage like you would with the original Spot Hog scope. So all we're going to do is pretty standard. You just mount to your 2 mounting holes right here, bolt it up, and then we'll check 3rd axis, and then we'll head to the range and sight in. So the reason for going to an XL sight is it allows you to push your dovetail rod out more. Basically what you want when you look through your peep is you want your peep to cover the ring of your scope, so like an eclipse, so you're basically seeing a tunnel all the way through. You don't want to see light around your scope, and you don't want to bury it either. You want a nice tunnel all the way through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this rod back just a little bit, because I think we're out a little too far, and then I can adjust accordingly once I get to the range and go from there. So we're going to move it back 1 notch, just like that. And you can feel the Spot Hogs, like most dovetails, they'll have dimples in them, so you can feel the physical click when they lock down, like that right there. Bolt it down, and now we're pretty good. We can double check. All right, and we're good. So that's it for the build. We're going to take it to the range now, bare shaft tune to make sure everything's lined up and shooting true, and then we'll do elevation and put a sight tape on, and we'll be good to go. All right, folks, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It certainly helps us out. We've also got some podcasts coming up. I'm the host of Full Draw Podcast along with my brother Gary. And again, thanks for watching.